Hello again, viewers, and greetings, fellow space travelers. This is Thorn of Night, and welcome to episode 32 of my bee breeding guide. In this episode, we're going to be going past the Industrious line, past the Rocky line, off to one of these is it, the Rusty branch of bees. And in this branch, there are 4 new types of bees that you need to know about. They are, in order from left to right here, rusty, corroded, leaden, and tarnished. As you can guess, they have to deal with metals. But first off, they are added by extra bees, and they do prefer the normal conditions. However, they are widely tolerant in temperature and humidity either way. They can work in caves with blocks above their base, above their bee house or apiary or alveary. They can work in the rain. They can work at night. Basically, they're just very tolerating bees in general. They do require rocks as their flowers, so any cobblestone or stone or whatever will do. Now, one thing that you will have to compensate for is they do have really short lives and they work very slowly. So, if you're using a manual breeding method instead of an automated one, you're going to have to be running past these guys all the time, keeping them going. But it's worth it in the long run because of what they give you. First off, because they do come from the Rocky line, you are going to get this rocky comb, which will get you some beeswax and some honey drops, but that's not why we're here. We're here for what these bees put out. Now, the rusty bee will put out this stuff called iron comb, and when you run it through centrifuge, you can get these iron grains, which can be turned into iron dust and then smelted into ingots. It takes 4 grains to make 1 ingot. Same thing with the corroded bee. You'll get this copper comb. Same thing, copper grains. The tarnished bee will give you tin comb for 10 grains. And the leaden bee will, you guessed it, give you leaden comb for lead grains. So these bees are used in just creating metal from nothing. It's kind of nice. But let's go take a look at the branch and see what we've got here. And I didn't crash this time. Excellent. Now, I should note that this map is going to be available for download through a link that I am supplying in the description below. The map includes everything that I've gone over or will go over in this series. That includes all of the different branches of bees. The overworld has an area set aside for the different machines that I went over in the first segment of this series, the first few episodes talking about the machines and all that. And you can go through and examine everything yourself, do some practice breeding, take a closer look at the outputs, look at the conditions. Like, for instance, I'm in a normal biome because I have made a Mistcraft age that is all plains. It's a single biome age, so it's pretty stable there. The map is made in the Feed the Beast Unleashed mod pack, so you will need Feed the Beast in order to do this, but you're probably not afraid of using mods if you're watching these videos and going after the download, because if you've got all of the mods required for dealing with all the bees, let's see here, you've got Buildcraft, Forestry, Extra Bees, Magic Bees, Thaumcraft, probably Greg Tech, possibly Ars Magica. You've already got a large handful of mods going just for dealing with the bees anyway, so why not just go ahead and get Feed the Beast? You can have all kinds of mod packs, and they all work pretty well together. Except the Unleashed one is a little bit unstable when you are going from one world to another. I will give you that fair warning. But let's go on to the reason why we're here, the bees. The first one we're going to cover here is the rusty bee, and if you need to know how to make the rocky bee, which is or the resilient bee, which is one of the components used in this line, you can either go watch my rocky video, or you can, if you have this map, just go through here and take a look at it yourself. But it requires some resilient bees as well as meadows bees, which you can get from hives in the world. And I have some stock for you to practice with if you wish, but let's take a look at what we've gotten here. First off, the rusty bee gave me a rusty princess. That's kind of nice. And just for morbid curiosity, I want to know how long it took me. 22 generations. That's how long it took me to get just this rusty bee. So it may not be instant gratification for you. Keep that in mind. And even if you do get one, it's not necessarily going to be a purebred. That's going to take some doing. Some notable differences on here because they're taking traits from the mother bee, the meadows. But I will leave these in here for you to take a closer look at if you wish. Let's take a look at the actual what the product of a rusty queen typically is going to be. First off, you can see that you will get a single drone, but you do have a chance for that iron comb or the rocky comb, and it isn't a 100% chance. For one life cycle, you are going to stand a chance to get less than one comb. But if you have a full stack of the comb, you can expect to get about half a stack of honey drops and beeswax, but that's not why we're here. You can expect to get a whole stack of the iron grains, and that is why you're doing this. Alright, the next bee is the corroded bee. So let's grab this resilient so I can see how many tries it took me to make this thing. 6 generations, also not instant gratification. And let's just see, for curiosity's sake, the difference. That looks like it is almost a purebred, but not quite. Alright, I will leave these in here for you to take a closer look at if you wish. And let's look at the typical output you can expect. Once again, one drone and a chance at some comb. And I've got some rocky comb. There's some copper comb, or not copper, but yeah, it's copper comb. But the stack of copper comb will give you, just like before, the normal comb drops, but a stack of the copper grains. Moving on to the tarnished bee, likewise, we've got a resilient princess there. So let's see how long this took, just to be curious. 8 generations, okay. And there's a tarnished, not quite a purebred, but somewhat close. Well, it's more notably different there. But I will also leave these in the chest for you to take a closer look at. And let's look at the output. Once again, one drone. You can expect to get one drone out of a queen. And if you're lucky, some comb. Like I said, it is not a 1-for-1 ratio. If you want this to be more efficient, set up some apiarist pipe and some sort of automated bee breeding method once you get the line stable, and then walk away, because it'll be a while before you actually get some. Even though they have the short live, the slow worker means that the percentage chance per cycle is a lot lower than what you are going to like to get. Once you get this line going, it's really a patience thing. But same thing with the other ones. You can expect to get a stack of the grains and only about half or maybe a quarter stack of the other stuff. Moving on to the final one in this line, the leaden bee. I guess I should mention, I apologize, I got ahead of myself. The corroded bee requires those resilience again, and a forest. The tarnished requires a resilient and a marshy. And the leaden requires a resilient and, this time, an unweary. Now, the unweary comes from the industrious line, which, likewise, you can go watch my industrious video, or you can just hop through the book and find out yourself. I also have left stock for that in here. But with that, we got a lustered bee. Oh, that's right. Resilient plus unweary also stands a chance of creating a bee from an entirely different branch. So you could theoretically start working on 2 branches at once by doing the resilient plus unweary. So keep an eye out for that. But we need this princess just to see the generations, and we need the leaden drone here to look at the stats. So let's see here. It took just 3 generations to get this leaden drone. And already you can see that there's some discrepancies for the inactive trait. But let's look at this. Nothing really different there. Nothing different there. So it's close to a purebred, but not quite. And once again, I'll leave these here for you to look at yourself. But let's go through the leaden bee output. 1 drone, once again, and there's some of that comb. But as you can see, it's not a guarantee to get a single comb out of the normal life cycle of one of the queens. So do keep that in mind. But it does give you, for a stack of the comb, a stack of the grains, and only about quarter to half a stack of the wax and honey drop. Now, some of the bees in this line are used for making some other bees, namely in the precious, nuclear, and metallic branch. So this is a key branch for making to move on to some later stuff. The nuclear one is particularly helpful. But that is pretty much it for this line. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful and useful information for you. If you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, though, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to respond. If you like this video and like what I'm doing here, please feel free to give it a like. I do appreciate it. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you know when my future stuff comes out. But this is where I'm going to have to go ahead and wrap up, so thank you once again for watching. This is Thorn of Night, and I will talk to you later.